there. So Bubble Brunch is almost ready, but it's basically a repository of 100 plus tweets by renowned bubblers who have created tweets on operators, tutorials, videos, MVP discussions, design, responsive engine, so many different things. It's literally a treasure chest for each and every bubbler out there. You can find lots of resources, you can filter them by tags, lots of things over here. So yeah, really excited to share this with the community. But first, this video is being recorded to get you accustomed with a banner design. So I'm going to be creating a banner for Bubble Brunch. And on June 24th, I created a banner for No Code Deca, and people were asking why I chose this banner and what's the theory behind creating a banner for launch. Well, it's going to be useful for your Gumroad setup as well, but most importantly, it's going to be useful on Twitter when you're putting it forward to your audience. A banner is highly essential because you're going to tell them about your product, you're going to show them some numbers, and you're going to tell them how they can grab that copy. So I'm going to go behind the theory of why I chose certain colors, why I chose this text, what do these numbers convey, and why does this kind of a layout style tend to attract a larger audience than something else. So let's go about that. I have already created a banner for Bubble Brunch. It's on a very similar lines as No Code Deca. So you can see the title, which is on bold, semi-title, which is light, an image, some numbers, and a call to action. That's it, very simple. So let's just create another banner by using a similar design, but we are going to be just tweaking it a little bit, and I'm going to tell you why that would not work. And the reason why I know this is because from the past 2 or 3 years I have been in the advertisement industry. I have been creating social creatives, print ads, digital ads, and lots of other assets for people. And what I've realized is some of the designs tend to work for a larger audience, some work for a niche, but overall, general design and advertisement design is leaps and bounds apart. Basically, when you are talking about UX design and some kind of a simple social creative, you can follow the layout, you can follow certain color scheme, it's going to work out. Somehow it's going to work out, right? But that's also dependent on the algorithm of the platform. But when you're talking about print design or something about brochures, which you are literally going to hand it out to people, sometimes even the ugliest of the designs work out. And the reason is all you need to do is make it so that people can perceive it ultimately, right? You should be able to convey the information as clearly as possible, even if it means the design is taking up the whole newspaper page and it just has 4 to 5 words. You might have seen Apple designs and Apple print ads, right? So, and when you go about seeing the designs for certain sale, like a sale in a supermarket, it's super ugly, but it's literally conveying the information. So advertisement design can be ugly, and there is a theory behind it. As we say in the development world, it's not a bug, it's a feature. So that's how advertisements work. And I'm going to be applying a very, very similar logic in this place as well. As you can see, the design is so freaking simple that anyone can perceive that what's happening over here. The reason being, when you look at this design first, when you look at the Twitter design first for No Code Deca, there are 2 points where your eye will gaze first, right? It's either over here on the title or it's going to be here on the numbers. So the hierarchy goes something like this. The person is first going to see the title, he's going to go towards the image, then he's going to see the semi-title, he's going to go down a bit, just browse through this. Then if this does not exist, he's going to just go over here. But there is a reason this exists. That's because people love perceiving numbers. People love analyzing numbers on their head, and the moment you put forward numbers on your information product, you have increased your chances by more than 70%, I kid you not. Because Numbers play a huge role in marketing, and that's the same thing over here, guys. So for this design, what worked out is this part. Even though it's totally different, it's totally separate from the actual content. The gaze first went here. People saw 40 plus tools. Okay, pretty cool. But 200 plus experts. I kind of need that. And then the gaze went over here. And I'm not just throwing this blindly. I have asked few folks, and this is how it has been happening in the past few months as well. In the past few years, man. That's just how the hierarchy happens when you're creating a graphic. So I kept that in mind and I created this: left, right, left, right, left. And maybe because you don't need to worry about this so much, but you would have to if this was also in a blue background. If this was in a blue background, then it would be left, right, left, left, right, left, right. You might want to break that a little bit. You might want to add more emphasis to this part. After all, it's about pricing, right? So that's why I added a bit of a darker background over here, so that even though the hierarchy is broken, this place gets a bit of emphasis. That forms your CTA. Now you might be asking me that why left and right layout? I could have just done a top to bottom thing, right? So let's go over here. Let me just create this quickly, and bubble brunch, take this here, center it out. Oh, I can just use this somewhere. Okay, that's okay. And I could have just taken this image and put it over here. This kind of works out when you are announcing something. When you're announcing a single product, you can take the example of Atomic Fusion. You can go to Neil's tweets and you can see that most of the layouts are like this. That's because Atomic Fusion already had that craze, and then you were just pushing some of the other updates later on, and that's when these kind of layouts do work out. But when you're throwing in a lot of information along with an offer, along with lots of numbers, the moment you do it over here, it's going to get very much crunched, and you don't want your audience to be confused with numbers and lots of tiny information bits. And remember, people are mostly going to be browsing this on their phones, so don't make them work hard. And you might be asking me that maybe we can just switch this on the left, this one on the left as well, and add all the necessary information here on the right side. Can just apply the same hierarchy. Let me just change the color a bit. Okay, we can give this a darker shade. We'll change that up. So when you look at this, and when you look at this, let me just expand this a bit. This one grabs the attention immediately because of this number and the bolder tweet here. This one feels a little bit crowded. It does not feel structured. It does not give you you just don't want to see it. You just don't want to see it. We are so accustomed to reading things from left to right that we just don't want to perceive, even though this is a very important information. And I might be able to change this by, creating a darker thing over here. There is a way to do this, use this layout as well, but I won't be going in depth for that in this video. But just try to make this a bit darker. What you need to do at this stage is, this one is going to be one information. The other information is going to come on a different block. And one more information will be coming on a different block. So this gives a perception of that left to right thing I was talking about. And this may just work out. If I just change the color, this is a very rough draft for this kind of a layout, but if you do choose to go ahead with this one, try to make sure that your title is big enough. It takes up the whole space. Your image needs to be wide, big, really big, and try to create some kind of a layout like this. Don't keep it monotonous. So if you try to bring out this kind of a hierarchy in this layout, it might work out. But when you're announcing something, try to keep it very simple for people to perceive the information. Give the numbers on a very high contrast value. Like if you just choose this, there is a thing called 4.5 to 1 ratio. It's called a contrast ratio. So if I choose the foreground color to be where is it? Okay, let's just, there's something horribly wrong with my pointer. Okay, let's just choose this color, and for the background, where has it gone? Anyways, so the point being that your text should be on a very high contrast environment. So anything over white, like a darker shade over white, kind of might bring out a 6 to 1 ratio. You always want to keep your contrast ratio to be greater than 4.5. So background is white, and foreground, if I choose to be this, I have no idea why it's just disappearing on me, but let's just call it here. Yeah, 21 raised to 1. And it's not coming here. We'll check that out later. I hate this tool. Okay, so that's the reason I made certain decisions. Basically, number one, related to left, right, left kind of a configuration. It's also something that you see highly on landing pages. That's the same reason we are applying it over here as well. And then you have the numbers on the right bottom side, a very awkward position to put it. You could have put it somewhere else as well. I could have just, decreased this, but then it would just not have the emphasis on the image. You need to have some kind of a sneak peek of what the audience is going to get. And then there is a very simple CTA, and that's it. Keep things simple. Try to avoid too many font families. I just stuck with Poppins, kind of like that for announcements and stuff. And yeah, that's it. Do let me know if you want to grab this template, and I'll share the Canva link with you as well. See you then.